guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen Javier, and this video is going to be how to integrate your psychedelic experience so that you can live a happier, freer, more integrated, more connected life. All that good, juicy woo-woo stuff that we all want to achieve. I'll do another video talking about my own personal psychedelic experiences and the things that I've learned, but this is mostly tips and tricks and steps you can take to use your psychedelic experience in a positive way. I really do believe in the power of psychedelics. I believe that they can really teach us a lot as long as we are willing to do the work associated with it. It's not like a magic pill where you do it once and you like wake up like a enlightened monk on the top of a mountain or something. That's not how it works. We still have to like live our everyday lives here on this earth. So this is just how you can use your psychedelic experience to do that, to be happier and to be more fulfilled and be more at peace and all that good stuff. So the first one is going to be set intentions. Journaling is going to be really important. You can use a physical paper journal or on your computer or your phone or whatever. You can write yourself some notes. But maybe think about the things that you want to explore or questions you might have, anything you might need to address, especially if you're going through anything challenging in your life at the moment. This is different though than having expectations. So setting intentions versus having expectations. You can set intentions, but just know that your experience may steer you a completely different way. And it's important not to have expectations because if you go in thinking you know what it's going to be like, no. The mushrooms, well, any psychedelic, but specifically for me, the mushrooms will tell you what you need to know. And it may not be what you think you need to know, but they will tell you what they need to know. So set your intentions, take some time ahead of your experience, write them down. It doesn't have to be like super long-winded, just like little bullet points or whatever, just so that you can kind of get yourself in the right mind space to have the experience. Set and setting are really important in psychedelic use. So I'll do another video talking about how to set yourself up for success, quote unquote. But set and setting, having some place you're comfortable, maybe people that you're comfortable with around you are going to be important in having a positive experience, positive overall experience. So my second tip is to, during your experience, be open. Be open to what you may come across, because you might come across things that are like really challenging and difficult. And if you don't relinquish control, that's when people have like quote unquote bad trips. And trust me, being someone who likes to be in control, it is hard to do that, but let go of that resistance, surrender to the experience, because if you don't, it might end up having the opposite effect that you want. And in this case, a trip sitter is something that might be helpful to you. So a trip sitter is someone that you feel comfortable with, who is not altered, who is there basically to keep your body safe. So they can be as invisible and or as involved as you want them to be, but because this is your experience, but someone who's going to be able to make sure that you're safe. So if that makes you feel more comfortable, especially like if it's your first time, I would definitely recommend having a trip sitter. But let the experience be what it is. It's gonna be overwhelming. You're gonna be altered. So try to resist the urge to kind of steer the ship. The ship will steer itself. You just kind of have to go along for the ride. My third tip is have some way to track or record the experience. So you can journal, you can have your computer, your phone to write, but from my personal experience, I didn't have very much motor function during my experience. So it was just hard enough to even like press record on my phone to record video. So video or audio recording would be a really cool way to keep track of it, only if you feel comfortable. If you feel like recording yourself on video or audio is going to be weird and you're going to feel self-conscious about it, then don't do it, because you don't want anything that's going to kind of block your experience from happening. You want to let everything happen. So if you know that you're going to be self-conscious about like, oh, there's a video recording of me, then don't do it. Just wait till after. Journal in your notebook or on your computer, whatever, afterwards. I just like video recording or audio recording because it helps me, looking back at the experience or looking back at the video, helps me remember what it feels like or what it felt like. It helps me remember the experience that I had, and then that way I can kind of just, relive those memories, especially if it's something that, maybe I was feeling particularly happy or joyful. It helps me remember like, oh, that's right, my body knows how to feel that way, and it kind of brings me back to that. You can write and journal afterwards when you start to regain a little bit of motor function. It may not be super coherent, but just write stuff down. Jot little notes down or whatever. You can have time to figure it out afterwards. You don't have to try to make sense of it at the time, because obviously, like I said, you're going to be altered. So just quick little bullet notes or whatever afterwards, and you can kind of just like figure it out later. So the fourth thing is to maybe, in addition to journaling or recording yourself, communicating with someone that you trust. This could be your trip sitter, so it could be a friend, your spouse, your partner, a family member, whoever. But make sure it's someone that you feel comfortable with, who you feel is not going to judge you for being altered, who's not going to make you feel bad, someone you're just really comfortable with. Maybe someone who's had a psychedelic experience before, so they can kind of relate to you and they know what you're going through. It can be a good thing to bounce ideas off of other people while you're in your experience. There might be part of it where you just want to be completely, alone in your own mind. That's fine. But if you do feel the need to connect with someone, choose someone that's going to support you and relate to you, rather than someone who's going to judge you or make you feel bad, because that's not fun and helps no one when you make people feel bad. Okay, the next one. So after your experience, you may feel really overwhelmed, but give it a day or two and then look back over your notes and see if there's anything you can flesh out or kind of explore or expand upon. So the notes that you might have from your experience, you might be like, what is this? This doesn't even make any sense. So give it a day or two to kind of think about, okay, what did I mean by this? Flesh it out. Again, you can write it down in your journal or you can record yourself. Try to find some clarity in the things that might be unclear. Meditating is a really great way of doing this, kind of finding some solitude or silence to let those lessons kind of punch through. It's going to be important to make sense of them if you want to integrate it into your everyday life. So the next tip number 6, is to, over the next couple weeks, revisit your notes and see if there's anything specific that you can learn from the experience. Some lessons that you learn might be super clear. You might like come out of your experience and be like, oh my gosh, and you have this great big epiphany. And then some of them might be like, I don't know what I learned at all. Jackson, you come sit with me? Hi, boo-boo. Hey, baby. Some of the experiences you may not figure out right away what it is that you learned. I know that's the case for my last experience. I was like, I don't know if I learned anything. But in the few days and the few weeks afterwards, I started to realize the things that that at the time didn't make sense, but were starting to make more sense. So give it a little bit of time, but figure out what those lessons are, because there are lessons and there are always lessons. So the next step is to take action on the lessons that you have learned. So if you feel a certain inclination or a strong pull to do something, do it right away, and don't wait, because if you do it right away, you will still remember the why of what you're doing, and it will make more sense to you rather than like putting it off and then, you know, forgetting why you wanted to do a certain thing. So an example for that would be like eating healthier, or meditating more, or not drinking alcohol, or being more mindful, or maybe reconciling with someone who you haven't had a good relationship with. Do those things right away, because then you will remember why you're doing them rather than like putting them off. My first experience, I kind of had a big epiphany about drinking alcohol. After I had my experience, I felt like I didn't want to do it anymore. And although it took me a little bit of time to integrate that into my life, I generally now don't really drink alcohol that much. I mean, I still do maybe socially, but before my experience, I was drinking almost every day. And even though I didn't think that I had a problem, it was still something that was like a big part of my life. And now that it's not, I just feel a lot more, I just feel a lot happier, a lot more free. So take action on the things that you've learned and do it right away. That way, you know, you don't have time to kind of like talk yourself out of it. Which is leading into my next step. And with any new habit that you are trying to implement in your life, be consistent. So this is kind of where it's important that your structure and routine start to take place, because after your experience, you might feel like, oh yeah, I feel so great and I want to like do all these things. And then 6 months down the line, you haven't set any structure for yourself and you're not doing those things because you didn't create a habit to do them. So set up structure and routine so that your actions stick and that they become integrated into your everyday life. Like I said, it's not like you have an experience and then you wake up all enlightened and your life completely changes, because we still are humans and we still have to, you know, function as humans. And if you don't have a routine or you don't have structure, you just kind of sink back into your old habits. And you want to use your psychedelics experience to create better habits so that you can live a happier, freer life. So that could be, you know, drinking a certain amount of water each day, going for a walk for 30 minutes every day, or you know, getting rid of all the junk food in your house, that sort of stuff. Be consistent with those habits so that you can learn from your experience and have it like actually be a part of your life, rather than just being this like, oh, that was a cool mushroom experience, whatever. Like, you want to actually integrate it, which is what this video is about. And the last tip is to make sure that you don't rush into another experience too soon. I don't know, for me, it's like if you've done psychedelics and you've had like a big trip, like the last thing you want to do is go into another big trip. It's kind of grueling, it's kind of exhausting, it's challenging sometimes, and so it's like, it's not like super fun, but I do learn a lot from it, and I do find that it's a positive thing for me. But I just like have no desire to like do another one right away. So I would recommend like give yourself, I mean, I don't want to give you like a specific time, but for me, it's like definitely months, you know, because you want to make sure that you're integrating those lessons into your life and that you're starting to implement the change, right? And you have to give that time and space. You can't like just try to implement these things and then right away like scramble that all up with another experience. Give it time so that you can really see how that experience has created the framework for you to change your life. And yeah, and honestly, like, I don't know, I wouldn't want to do another experience right after a big trip. It's just like, you know, like I think it's great and stuff, but I'm just like, oh my God, that's like, I don't know. It's like running a marathon and then immediately like the next day being like, I think I'm going to run another marathon. I mean, I know there are people who are out there who do that, but you know, you get what I'm saying. Anyway, so those are my tips to help integrate your psychedelic experience so that you can live a happier, fuller, freer, connected, beautiful life that you are meant to live, because I believe that that is available to everybody. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing more videos about psychedelics and integrated living and all that fun stuff. So until next time, see you guys later. Bye.